If you have one chance, one book to get someone into reading, maybe this Christmas if you want to give someone a book as a gift, because there's a reading crisis and fewer people are picking up books, but you desperately don't want that book to be a dud, because then you might put them off books for a very long time, then I have some recommendations for you across a variety of genres, so there'll be something for everyone, and all these are not duds, because it's very hard to tell sometimes whether it's actually going to be good or not. If you want to skip to a particular genre that you're interested in, then I'll put the timestamps for it in the description. I'll be covering science fiction, fantasy, historical fiction, crime, thriller, children's books, young adult, memoir, and other non-fiction. In my experience, there are 2 book series that always get people into reading, but everyone knows them already, so I'll just quickly skate over them. And they are, of course, The Hunger Games, the original trilogy, and also Harry Potter. The genre I'm going to start with is science fiction, and first up is the Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson. I love that it's a training setting as they gradually learn to become starfighter pilots, and they're growing friendships and their learning progression, and there are also lots of heart-stopping perilous moments too, but is everything as it seems. You'll have to read it to find out. The next book that I'm going to recommend is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. It's best to go into it not knowing very much, so all I'm going to say is that a man wakes up, he doesn't know his name or where he is, he doesn't remember anything, and as he gradually recovers his memories, we go on that journey along with him and discover why the fate of the world is in his hands. You will just have the best time, and I really, really recommend the audiobook for Project Hail Mary. My next recommendation is the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. The first book is entertaining and exciting, but oh my goodness, the rest of the books in the series, they just expand so much and are so cleverly plotted, thrilling and rich, and you discover that the first book was just a platform really from where the rest of the series could soar. Next up is the Nyxia Triad by Scott Reintgen. 9 contestants are given the chance to win a huge amount of money for them and their families by going into space and to go to an alien planet to mine a substance called Nyxia, and the in-flight travel is a competition, an accumulation of points and tests and trials against each other, and there are leaderboards and they go up and down because they're competing to get a chance to mine this substance and completing a whole lot of training along the way. And there's a corporation who may not be telling the truth. The next genre is fantasy. First up is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. It's fast-paced, fresh, and has an immediacy to the writing that is irresistible. Every 24 years, a new emperor is chosen, and 8 candidates have to go through various trials to become this new emperor. At the beginning of the book, one of these candidates is murdered, and so there is a murder mystery within this fantasy world, and someone unexpected and unprepared has to take the place of that murdered contestant, and there is a bigger mystery going on that is linked to everything. And I love the main character in this. She's mid-30s and she has such a unique perspective and personality. The next book is The Will of the Many by James Islington. This book is pure joy and entertainment. A boy is plucked out of an orphanage by a mysterious benefactor and is trained up and educated to infiltrate an elite academy to uncover various secrets and mysteries. The main character's gradual improvements and advancement in the rankings, the strategy and tactics of the maze and the competition there is just so satisfying, and you'll love every second of it. Next up is Blood over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. It is a phenomenal fantasy book that is a breath of fresh air with many layers and deeper themes. Because of the type of society that this book is set in, once every 10 years, one woman is allowed to take the tests to potentially become a high mage, and there has never been a female high mage before, and this book starts with our main character Siona taking those tests, and she and her lab assistant uncover a shattering truth about the world they live in and how everything is a lie. The magic system is innovative and is a bit like coding or programming. Next up is The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, which is my favourite epic fantasy series of all time. You have to be patient with it at the start and just accept that you won't necessarily understand at first what's going on and there'll be some strange names thrown in there. But if you trust, it will become the best thing that you've ever read. It is a masterpiece, and the emotion that you will feel will be second to none. The depth, scope and intricacy of the world, the incredible characters, the threads of story and plot, all come together is awe-inspiring and thoroughly absorbing, with plenty of surprises and twists. Plus, it leaves you with a good feeling inside at its sense of integrity, honour and goodness. Bridge 4 for life! The next genre is historical fiction. I loved The Women by Kristin Hannah. A woman finds herself going as a nurse to the war in Vietnam. This book is well written with great characters and plot. It's moving and is also accurate to the trauma experience. Dear Mrs. Bird by A.J. Pierce. Dreaming of becoming a daring war correspondent during the Blitz, Emmy Lake accidentally finds herself falling into the job of a typist at a women's weekly magazine, but finds herself taking matters into her own hands. This book is a delight, with an eccentric cast of characters that you'll come to love, all set amid the constant peril of the Blitz. Circle of Friends by Maeve Binchy. This book almost has a sort of Anne of Green Gables feel to it. It's a lovely, gentle story set in a small community in Ireland, and follows the friendship of two girls from age 10 till 20, so 1949 to 1959, and it's an unexpected gem. I'm going to label the next genre for fans of Jane Austen, and there's just one recommendation here, and it's called The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. The first half of the book is the story of Pride and Prejudice, but from Mary Bennet, the middle of the five Bennet sisters' point of view. It's a faithful retelling in terms of tone and spirit, but it's also fascinating and illuminating, and you'll maybe see characters and events from Pride and Prejudice in a different light. Mary Bennet might even become your new favourite Bennet sister. The second half of the book takes place after the events of Pride and Prejudice, and so is a reimagining. It's a delightful book and thoroughly engrossing. Next, children's books. The Explorer by Catherine Rundle. A plane with 4 children in it crash lands in the Amazon jungle where they have to survive. It's exciting but also beautifully written, with a lovely subtle message, and also a bit of a mystery. Has someone been there before them? The Wind Singer by William Nicholson is the most criminally underrated fantasy of all time. It is fantastic. Great characters and plot. Just read it. You will not be disappointed. The Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend. Magic, mysteries to uncover with twists. It leaves you with a sense of home and coziness, with a world and cast of characters that become so familiar and loved. The series just goes from strength to strength in each subsequent book, and is just gloriously fun. Northern Lights by Philip Pullman. Join the unruly and curious 11-year-old Lyra as she starts on her exciting adventure, which takes her north into the harsh cold and starts to uncover sinister mysteries and the question of dust, with a capital D. The one genre that I find television does better than books is crime/thriller, but I will recommend the two following. So, The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. Most people will know this series. It's full of Richard Osman's trademark wit and tone. You'll just want to come back and spend time with these characters again and again. And there's decent enough murder mysteries in there too. For thriller, there's The Escape Room by L.D. Smithson. In a mysterious reality TV show, 7 contestants have to solve a series of puzzles to win the prize money, and everything is a clue, but it soon all takes a turn. Next genre is young adult. Legendborn by Tracy Dion is Arthurian legend in a contemporary context, on a college campus in the US with a paranormal twist. There's magic and secret societies with characters and relationships that sizzle off the page. The book also deals with trauma, grief, and racism really well, and has profound things to say about them. The Grishaverse by Leigh Bardugo is incredibly fun and enjoyable. Within it is a trilogy, Shadow and Bone, and 2 duologies, Six of Crows and King of Scars. This fantasy world just sucks you in, and you will not want it to end. If you like that, I always think that you'll really enjoy An Ember in the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. It immediately grips you and has a wonderful immediacy to the writing. It is just so exciting, and it's masterfully plotted. The Song of the Lioness Quartet and The Protector of the Small Quartet, both by Tamora Pierce. They were my personal favourites when I was a young teenager. In the first book, Alanna, the First Adventure, Alanna has to disguise herself as a boy in order to train as a knight. These books will always hold a special place in my heart. The next genre is memoir. Fly Wild Swans by Yung Chang is extraordinary. It's the follow-up to Wild Swans, which told the story of Yung Chang, her mother and grandmother, so 3 generations of women in China. And through that, we get the story of modern China, and it is absolutely fascinating. This follow-up book, Fly Wild Swans, is one of the best books that I've ever read. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. This is the first of Maya Angelou's autobiographies. It is stunning, compelling, and powerful. Night by Elie Wiesel is such an important book. It's an account of the author's experiences in Nazi Germany's death camps. This is a must. Where the Light Fell by Philip Yancey is an extraordinarily well-written, honest and fascinating autobiography. It's the story of his life growing up in the south of America with an abusive fundamentalist Christian mother. It shows his roller coaster journey through religion and then coming to faith later on, as he tries to figure out what is real and what is fake. The Accidental Soldier by Owen Madigan. It's an honest account of the author's time as a British soldier in Iraq in 2006. Although faced with both the brutal and the mundane, the author has a dry wit and a talent for writing. There are both humorous and touching moments, and it's interesting to find out what it was really like. The Penguin Lessons by Tom Mitchell is a delightful book that I think most people would enjoy. It recounts the time when he was working in South America and rescued a penguin from an oil slick. The penguin then comes to stay with him in the boarding school that he's working at, and it's a lovely story of his developing friendship with this penguin and what this penguin unlocks in all the people around him at the school. It maybe just reveals what was there all along. The final genre is other non-fiction. The Silk Roads, A New History of the World by Peter Frankopan. I highly recommend this. It is truly eye-opening. It goes through what has shaped the world and its civilizations through history up to the present day and its relevance, from a perspective that maybe we're not used to in the West and definitely not taught at school. Owls of the Eastern Ice, The Quest to Find and Save the World's Largest Owl by Jonathan C. Slatt. This is unexpectedly exhilarating and fascinating. You're transported to an isolated forested world blanketed in ice and snow, deposited in a different culture, meeting distinctive people and majestic animals along the way, and participate in the author's treacherous travels along melting ice rivers in his quest to find the world's largest owl. Hiroshima by John Hersey details the accounts of 6 survivors of Hiroshima, and it goes through what they were doing before, during and after the bomb hit. You have to keep reminding yourself that it's real because it feels like fiction, because it's so outside of the realm of human experience. The extremity of that day just crashed into the lives of ordinary people, and it's just so important. And finally, a bit of a cheeky one. It's my poetry collection, We Are the Winter People. Sometimes playful, sometimes painful. Hopefully these poems will offer you companionship in your times of struggle and come alongside you and hold your hand. But there's a diverse range of poems on a variety of different subjects. Go and have a look at some of the reviews on Amazon to see if you might like it. Even people who don't usually like poetry find that there's something for them in this. And it's all raising money for my urgently needed neurosurgeries in New York. So if you could buy it as a Christmas present for all your friends, I'd be very grateful. Thank you. If you want to find out more about what is wrong with my neck, how to fix it, and why I urgently need to fundraise money for my neurosurgeries, you can go to gofundme.com/SaveJenny. And you can also go to the first pinned video in my profiles on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook to watch a video explaining the situation with my neck. If you have any money to spare this Christmas, I'd be very grateful for any donations at gofundme.com/SaveJenny. Thank you.